early. For some reason, I can't get it to pop up on my computer that's just next to me. It's not showing up as like waiting or queuing. So if this is live now, that's the reason why I've just started to stream a little bit early. Don't worry, I'll give it a couple of minutes. I'm hoping by going live, it will just kick in. It looks like that's worked. Brilliant. There we go. Let's mute this. And wait for this. Oh my God. Why does everything take so long these days? So just bear with us. I'm waiting for an ad to to finish playing on my own channel so I can see my own stream. Oh dear Lord. Come on. Okay, so I think there we go, we're there. There we go, that's it. Hi, my name's Rob, this is Cat Rabbit Scale Model Studios. The purpose of this live was one, like a long play, like I did the other day with painting like worn leather and stuff like that. Thought I'd show you how I'm going to make an objective marker. Now, this is something I haven't really ever done before. I don't play a lot of Age of Sigmar, but I've obviously just painted up some Troggoths, which I've really enjoyed. I think they look really cool as well. So you can see, you know, these have been great fun to do. And obviously, like when I do factions and stuff like that, I always kind of, you know, think about doing themed terrain and stuff like that. So I thought I'd just start small. And the reason why I did this is the guy here with the crystals, I didn't realise that obviously you can also have him holding this kind of cool dwarf head. But the dwarf head actually has a back to it. I thought it was just the faceplate that was changed and he still held this rock, but that is not the case. He actually holds this separately. So I thought, well, I've got this nice chunk of plastic here. I'll make an objective marker. And I was looking at other bits that I could use. I think this is from the Dryad kit. Thought it was quite cute. I don't really know what it is. I've decided not to use that. There's a bit of boat from the Kraken Eater Sons of Behemoth thing, which I thought was quite cool. And then there's also from a Dankhold I did years ago, this cool centipede thing. So at first what I thought was I would kind of trim him up. I've already tried to join this guy here and I wasn't overly infused with how it turned out. But what I could do, I thought, oh, maybe I'll have it looking like a big centipede crawling in, you know, under a rock or something. Well, then I came across this little frog dude, which was from the, I believe he's from the Pterodon Riders from the Seraphon. And I thought he would look quite cute, kind of just sitting under there with the rock. The rock's kind of got this little alcove section just here that, you know, I thought was quite cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the rock on like that. So he's kind of centered. And then I'll slide the little frog dude inside it. And then I'll just do it, you know, how I do my bases. Now, the reason why I have done some steps, I have glued the cork down and trimmed it to size. The reason why I've done this, I've also, you know, it's quite rock hard. I have given it a coat of super glue, was because this is basically, a lot of this is going to follow the base tutorial that I've been doing for my Troggoths. I've already got a tutorial on my channel for this base. So if you are kind of interested, just click on my name and it's one of my recent videos. I think I did it 3 or 4 videos ago. Lovely lush green bases, really easy to do, just need a bit of cork and some different sprays, and yeah, it's great fun. So I thought, well, to save you all the hassle of just watching me redo that, I thought what I'd do is I'll start from this point so we can kind of make sure we definitely get it done this stream. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. I'll put these bits aside. I'm not going to use these this time, but I might make another one. I might make one per squad. I don't know. Just trying to kind of gather bits and ideas. I will pick up a Dankhold for my Troggoths, but I won't do that just yet. Next ones I'll probably do are some Fellwater Troggoths, just purely because, you know, 3 models will last me a lot longer than just 1, even if it is a slightly bigger model. I know what I'm like. I tend to, because I'm really into it at the moment, I'm really like, oh, let's just go at it. So we'll do that. So the first thing I am going to do, and I will just talk as I'm kind of doing it, but I'm going to dry brush this with a Dawnstone. It has been sprayed with the Game Master Cliffs and Rocks. It's basically Mechanica standard, but it's like an acrylic, like water safe one. You can spray foam with it and stuff like that. It's really, really good to use. And I've given it a wash with Darkstar Miniatures. It's called Murky Mire. It's a really, really good alternative to Agrax Earthshade. I find it's a lot darker. So I'm just going to build some colour up on this. Obviously the aim is to make this match the bases of my Troggoths. Obviously any questions or anything like that, stick them in the chat. I will do my best to keep an eye on it, but I am just going to kind of get this done today, as I think it's a good encouragement to use leftover bits and to maybe look at those leftover bits and kind of look at what they could be used for. It really annoys me sometimes with options that you don't know what you've got, you know, to choose, and you're kind of like a little bit almost overwhelmed, I find sometimes with models. And you've always got that option left over that you wish you could have kind of, you know, used, or bits you would use. And I always find, like with myself, I end up sitting here kind of thinking, like, oh, what, you know, what can I do with this? So I thought this was a really, really good way of just encouraging people to use extra bits, use those bits, make some themed objective markers. I might have a go, if this turns out right, at making some cool Dark Angels ones for 40k, as I've got loads of Dark Angels bits, loads of banners and stuff like that. And I think that would be a really cool thing to kind of just display with my army as well. You know, I think it's quite a nice. It looks good, doesn't it? Like, I think it looks good. Evening, Josh. How are you, sir? I do hope you are well today. Everyone, Josh is in the chat. Way. Yeah, so I just thought, you know, funny enough, I was actually speaking to Josh earlier about kind of doing this. I weren't sure whether to just jump in and do a video. We were kind of shooting through some ideas and stuff like that. And I kind of thought, well, I've only got the one bit at the moment that I kind of want to use. And, you know, although I've got some other ideas, and I have gone bits hunting and found some really cool stuff. I've got some great bits to show you all. And I can't quite remember where I got them from either. So I'm hoping chat can help me identify some kind of long lost bits, if you will. But to begin with, I'm just building up, as you can see, I'm just going back and forth, building up this Dawnstone. You know, you don't need a lot. It's just back and forth until you're happy with it. I find I'm going to have more light at the front, so I'm kind of paying attention to these sections just here. Do apologise if the camera's wobbling ever so slightly. I think that'll do. That looks pretty good to me. And then we move on to not that one. We want that one, Administratum Grey. So all I'm going to do, same again. I'm not going to wash my brush out. I'm just going to get a little bit. I'm going to pop it on there. This is all in the video tutorial, so, you know, don't worry too much. Let me know if you're hobbying tonight, what you're working on. How's your week been? It's Tuesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday. We're halfway there to that glorious weekend. So, you know, has anyone got any big hobby plans? But more importantly, what do we think of the now you're going to have to bear with me because I can't really remember his name, but that chunky Inquisitor guy. I wasn't going to bring it up because I thought, you know what, it's subjective, but it seems to be getting a lot of hate online. Yeah, he looks a bit different. I'm glad he doesn't look like a Space Marine, though, is all I'm going to say. You know, I think they could have quite easily... The armour's very, you know, reminiscent. I don't know a lot about the Inquisition and stuff like that. So, you know, pardon my ignorance on that. The armour does leave a lot to desired, but I'm glad that they've... I say that, you know, they've done something different. You know, I wasn't around for the original model that apparently a lot of people seem to enjoy a little bit more. But I don't know. Is it something that I would maybe buy? Probably not, if I'm honest with you. Don't get me wrong, it's different, it's cool looking, but it's a bit weird looking, you know, and I don't pay a lot of attention to the lore of, you know, Warhammer and stuff like that. But yeah, it's the big kind of nappy I like how he's got the Inquisition badge on his pants, and it's the equivalent of writing your own name in like your gym shorts, isn't it? I guess. I just don't know what to say about it. If I'm honest with you, it's just a bit weird. I'm not going to wash my brush out just yet. I'm going to go back to Dawnstone, because what I actually want to do is I'm going to just add a couple of, I'm going to say downstroke to this dwarven head here. He's going to sit kind of like that. So I'm just going to just kind of try and pick up some of those details on him. Obviously I'll dry brush him a bit more once he is attached. Now obviously the reason why I, as I said, I paint armies and stuff like that and projects, and I always think to myself, what didn't bother me at all, I'm probably not going to buy it or paint it. Yeah, the ice cream van, but it's not the one that has caused us trouble previously. I'll tell everyone the story about how me and Josh, where were we like banned from, like Africa or something on Instagram. It's a really odd story, and it was actually, I think it was only earlier this year that we actually found out the kind of truth on why this has happened. We were all a bit kind of like, well, we don't really understand why, but it was actually Penge Casey from the Inquisition, who I talked to. He's a really lovely guy, and he was like, no, it's because of this. I'm just going to quickly dry brush this, and that should be the last of the kind of dry brushing stage for the minute. I just want to make sure we just catch some of those edges, just like that. I must say, I'm really enjoying these Artify brushes. I got given a set, and I've been using them kind of like just behind the scenes. I don't really like reviewing stuff. I think as more of I've gone on, I've learnt that reviewing paint systems and brushes and stuff like that is just utterly pointless, because as soon as there's that one person that doesn't like that brand because they don't like that brand, they're not going to listen to a word you say. On the flip side of things, it's just so subjective. People like what they like, and unfortunately you're not really going to change that. What works for you might not work for someone else, and I find that's okay. You're allowed to like different things and use different products and stuff like that. So I just, there was a few times that I kind of was like, should I don't like to use a follow-in or anything like that to like reach out and gain products. I always like people to kind of like speak to me first and go like, hey, we saw your channel, can we send you some stuff? And then I'll have that conversation. Normally I'll say, can you tell me more about yourselves or your product, if whatever. There's been a few times where I've thought like, oh, I'd love to try too thin paints and stuff like that, and I've just thought, nah, I'll just, we'll wait and see, because there's no point, because I might really like it, and then the next person might not, and I think it's just, you're never gonna kind of solve that issue. There's a lot of brand loyalty sometimes with a lot of stuff. That's okay, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things. So I kind of, I don't reach out to people. Artify did send me out some brushes, which have been really good actually. I've actually really enjoyed using them. But so yeah, so while I paint this little frog quickly, me and Josh, so obviously we started doing this during COVID, I think. We've been doing this a little while now, me and Josh, streaming and stuff like that. And we where I sit, where I live down my road, it's like a crescent, like a bowl shape that leads on to like a rectangular shape, and that's it. it's not a through road anywhere. It's like a dead end. If you turned left and drove straight, you would eventually come back to where you came into the road. So it's really, really quiet down my street. So I back onto the riverbank. You know, I've got a lovely garden and stuff like that. So one day we were streaming, and I think we'd moved up into my office where I am kind of now. And the ice cream van comes along. And, you know, I didn't think of it except for, you know, bloody hell, that's loud. And then the next day, you know, that night, so we do our stream, and, you know, everything goes well, and everyone's kind of like, you know, that's good. And normally when me and Josh do things, we might have a little conversation afterwards, you know, we chat away and just, you know, whatever, like, oh, you know, that was a good one, or, oh, you know, I forgot to talk about that, we'll do it next time. And we just kind of, you know, take it not semi-seriously, but, you know, we communicate. Well, you know, we do all that, that's fine. And then the next day we got a message. Normally they save, I think, to Josh. Yeah, Josh, it's your profile, I believe. And he gets a notification basically saying that we're now banned in, you know, like, I think Africa, sovereign states. You know, we can't, you know, our streams won't be visible to people living there. And we were like, okay, well, it's not the end of the world, but why? You know, it kind of just didn't make a lot of sense, if I'm honest, as to why this had happened. The only thing I could kind of think of was the ice cream van man that comes round my way. He just parks. He's parked literally like right there now, just across the street from me. He parks up. I know him. He's a really nice guy. The Whippy King. Don't threaten me with a good time. And he sometimes there's another ice cream man. I can actually tell you a funny story about ice. And I learnt something. This is a God's honest truth about ice cream men and how the cutthroat world of ice cream. Sometimes, obviously, ice cream men tend to have their own, I'm going to say territory, their own little spots. So like Whippy King, I know he does one of the local schools. It's just up the road and it's into like another little estate. He does My Little Roads where I live, just off of the high street in my town. And he plays a certain tune. Sometimes ice cream men, what they will do to deliberately sabotage each other, this is the God's honest truth, they will play the song that they would normally play, but what they'll do is they kind of like, they won't turn their ice cream on like until, you know, much later till they get round here. So they come round and you associate the ice cream man with the song it plays. I do anyway. I can't believe I'm having this conversation about ice cream man. So like, I know when Whippy King comes around because he always plays the same song. So a little while ago we were getting a guy coming round and he was playing, I thought it was Elvis Presley, It's Now or Never. And what I initially had thought was that the Instagram had picked up on the tune of It's Now or Never playing. And it had kind of thought like, oh, you know, that's copyright music because it's like, you know, Elvis Presley or whatever. And it had banned us. And I was kind of like, that's the only thing I can think of. That's not the case. But what had actually happened is another ice cream man had come round this way with that tune. He does it sometimes, you don't see him that often. But it's not It's Now or Never. It's the Cornetto song where it's Cornetto, give it to me. And that is copyrighted by Nestle and Walls. So we got demonetized because the ice cream man, Instagram picked up the jingle from the ice cream man that played a copyrighted Nestle song. And that is the cutthroat world of ice cream men. But yeah, so we're, cut a long story short, we're not allowed to stream in like Africa or like third world countries. It was just baffling. I've never heard anything like it before, but there we go. That's how it happened. I don't really know what to tell you, but that's the unforgiving world of ice cream men. Back to what I'm doing now. Sorry, I'm so sorry. That's such a tangent. So yeah, right. That's kind of done. Obviously, I've dry brushed his little mate here. I am going to add some green and that to that. I want it to kind of look a bit like mouldy and a bit kind of damp. You can see where I sprayed half of it Death Guard green and then half of it trench brown from the Colour Forge, just to get a bit of variation. So it looked like the green was, you know, creeping up. I'll add some more green to it though. What I am going to do now, I'm going to get my texture paints. I really like doing this part. I think it's a lot of fun because you get a really, really cool effect. I probably should have started with this bit actually, because it might take a little while to dry, not the end of the world. I'm going to get have I got an old brush here somewhere? Oh no, that's a bit ruined, too much. You know your brushes is bad when you go, no, that's too ruined for trying. What about this one? Do you reckon I can use that? I think the super glue's got that one. Oh dear. Oh no, we can pull it off. There we go. Hey, that works for me. So what I do here, and obviously again, you know, if you're interested, watch the video. It is full of, you know, little tips. I get loads of texture paint of one. Here I'm using Sterland Maya, and I'm using Armageddon Dunes, and all I do is I get some on, you know, you can put it in random places and stuff like that. I don't wash my brush out, and then I get some of the other. This has got a really cool bright contrast to it. What I would normally do is paint the base, but it's only an objective marker and I don't think you're really going to see it. I am planning on adding quite a few tufts to make it look overgrown. Just get a good bit of that in there. We can push all that in there. This is where our little frog dude's going to go, in this little alcove section. Sorry, I didn't realise my camera was angling. Let's just do it like that. There we go. Now we're in the middle. Now we're singing and dancing. And we're just going to drag that out. You won't see a lot of this. You know, it's completely optional. I do just want to build it up around here to give it a nice... I think I will come in with like a bit of a green wash as well. Just to kind of... You know, I want it to look like it's a bit damp and a bit kind of, you know... I'm not going all like heavily dank Gloomspite Gits things with these guys, because it is just a pure Troggoth force, but I do also want them to kind of look like they're, you know, maybe not pristine. I was contemplating putting some dirt around their feet and stuff like that, however I did opt to not, as I thought it would kind of take it. Well, I was there for the Ice Cream Man story. There we go. Did you think that is what would be going on tonight? You know, the Ice Cream Man stories, the war stories, the territorial cutthroat world of Ice Cream Men. I think it's one of the most ridiculous things ever. I love mundane stuff like that. I think that is just one of the best pointless, stupid things ever. Not the fact that they're just so territorial as well. I think it's absolutely amazing. You know, I didn't realise Ice Cream Men were just that cutthroat and absolutely that savage. Stay for the mini, showed up for the mini painting, stay for the Ice Cream Man stories, if you will. Next, I am going to, yeah, let's just do a little bit of a glaze with this before I forget, as I like to add just a bit of green to the rocks. We're going to make this really watery. There we go. That suits me. And then we'll just kind of start to paint this on just in little spots, just to make it look like it's a bit wet, a bit mossy, a bit kind of like ugh. But that's what we'll go with. So yeah, do let me know if what you're working on, or you know, if you're working on anything or a little project. Let me know if you've ever done a project like a concept army. I find more and more lately, since doing like my Dark Angels and stuff, how interested I am in just those one-off armies. That just, you know, they kind of house that kind of almost like personal story and lore. I'm not a big lore guy, but I like it when people come up with just they cherry pluck that one thing that they really really like, and they just build a whole army on it. Like, so let me know if you've ever done that. I think it's a fascinating idea, concept armies, and the work that goes into them is spectacular. It really is. But then I think most of the time the work that goes into, you know, models is pretty spectacular anyway. So as cheesy as that might sound, I you know, I'm a big fan of that. Right, there's that. Let's let this dry for a minute. It's pretty warm in here, so that should dry pretty quickly. Now there's our little frog guy. How I did this was I mixed some Vallejo. This is the Express color. Orc skin. I mix it with a little bit of Imperial Fist contrast, and you kind of get this really nice kind of like greeny look to it. I am just going to take some of that excess away there because there's quite a bit there. We'll just get rid of that and there. But yeah, so I've decided to just do all trolls. I'm just going to do all Troggoths. I'm not, one thing that I spoke about this in my Dark Angels video where I did like a yearly update. One thing I find really, really freeing and really, really like nice to do is when you don't have to constantly refer to the lore and the stories and is it rules accurate. It's very liberating to just paint what you want. And I find stuff like armies like, you know, just all Troggoths. I don't even care if it's rules right or what. If I've got enough battle line, I'm probably never going to play with it, so it doesn't really matter. This is just for me and my kind of, you know, what I'm doing. But you just kind of just paint what you want when you want what you want, and I do find it's the best. It's like I said, it's quite liberating. It's really like, you know, I'm not constricted by anything whatsoever. And I think that's a really like cool thing to be able to kind of do in my own time when I want. If anyone has any questions about the new Necromunda, I have the box sitting next to me. I will show you my Maelstrom Gene Stealers that I've been working on because I can actually show them off now, which is very cool. For those that are just interested, there we go. These models are so cool. So that's my kind of take on it. You can see that I've gone with lots of like dark browns and reds to like this horrible fleshy colour. I wanted it to look really like odd. And I think these models capture that really kind of like odd kind of just look to them. They're so unsymmetrical. I think they're really, really good. I will say this, you can probably see here that I've bent one of these over. These hurt when you put them together because you kind of have to squeeze bits, and they've got all these little spiky bits coming off of them. They're an absolute nightmare to kind of work with, in all honesty. And then I did do a Tyramite. I don't really know what these things are. Again, really cool looking, but again, these bits are so fragile, like stupidly fragile. And the Necromunda bases, I touched on this in my unboxing video, because they're sculpted, sometimes they don't sit quite right, or you just kind of have to like suck it and see like that, which is really, really frustrating. You can use PVA to set these, and you won't get that fog in when you use things like super glue. However, doing that, you won't get a stronger, like as strong a bond, shall we say. So do just be careful with them. You can also see that I've had to set this slightly forward for the actual Terramite to be centered as well, because they do sit quite funny. I do wish GW would just do like a straight post and just have a hole and you can just pop it in. It would be so much easier. But that's the two that I kind of got done. I do love Necromunda. I've got a massive box of Signory, but it's just getting round to doing it all the time with other projects. I've had I had the idea of making a Flesh Eater Quartz army. Love Flesh Eater Quartz in Lore. They got Summer Quartz, Summer Kings, and maybe a contrast would be Winter Quartz, Frozen Throne. Yes, I think with Flesh Eater Quartz, there's so much you can do with them, especially now they've got like the Crypt Guard as well, and you can start to add those, and especially with the release of like the Bretonnia stuff. I would say get some Bretonnian Knights on foot and just kind of take the shields and like the weapons off, little swaps here and there, and you could get some amazing Flesh Eater Quartz stuff. I would definitely be, if money was no object, I would do a Flesh Eater Quartz Bretonnia crossover type army. Just being seasonal themed, absolutely. BS, hello and good evening. Good evening to you, sir. Lovely to see you again. I do hope you are well. See, I told you I'd be back this week. Don't worry. Love it. I love stuff like that. Frozen theme. Do I Frozen theme bases? Frozen theme bases, really, really good. And I'll tell you a really good way of doing them. A Grellan Earth. What you want to do is paint your base a really nice dark blue, something like so it really matters, to be fair, Macragge blue, a Grellan Earth on top of that, and just spray the whole thing white, and then something like Coelia green shade all over it, and it actually gives you like that azure-y kind of ice look. Really, really good. It looks like cracked kind of earth. If you paint PVA over the base as well, it decreases the surface tension, so it pulls the cracks further apart. So you not only do you get bigger chunks of bigger cracks, you also get wider ones as well. Little tip for you. There you go. See, sometimes I do know what I'm going on about. I just don't like people to know that. You know, if you play the village idiot, people will always be unsuspecting. So that's definitely one of my favourite things to do. And plus, also, if you act like an idiot, people never ask you stuff, which is also quite a nice thing. Right, back to this. Let's do this. I'm going to use some Biltian green. And what I want to do, and I do this quite a lot, just get some water here like that. Ah, you cheeky boy. And all we're going to do, wet our brush, then dump it in our thing. And it sits like this, so we know that we can kind of creep up to kind of here like this, just around, just adding that green colour to it. We're not going to go too mad on this. Let's just get this a little bit in there, a little bit into these kind of recesses here. Then all I'm going to do is I'm going to get some water. I'm going to turn it the other way on my brush. And I'm just going to kind of feather it out. This is going to give us that really nice gentle fade with the wash, which is kind of what I want. I always find it's easier to err on the side of caution, because much like with miniature painting, you can add but you can't take away. So it's always better to just be a bit more cautious, I find, with, you know, when you're doing stuff like this. Just makes life a little bit easier to kind of work with. I think that would do. If we have to, we can just kind of wipe some away with our finger. Don't be afraid to get messy. We're going to stick some dry brush over it anyway, again towards the end, just so we've got it. But he looks kind of like green. Is that a fabric cutting mat? Just clean it. Yeah, no, this is just a normal self-healing cutting mat. I think I got this from the works in the UK. Whenever it comes to me, I guess it's nice feeling needed. I guess that's always the thing, you know, for the human aspect, it's lovely to have people ask you questions. However, I think with stuff, and me and Emma touched on this when we did our little chat last week. If you haven't seen it, it's on Catch Up. You can watch the live if you're interested about what it's like being a social media influencer. I hate that fucking word. I'm gonna say it with passion. but I think being on like social media, being a content creator, being someone that people look to for information and stuff, it's definitely, the internet has made people accessible. And you know, I've had it before where I've like, my phone's gone off at like 2 o'clock in the morning because someone's like, what paint would you use to highlight this? And I'm thinking, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, you know. And I think sometimes that aspect of it, I'm kind of like, I wish people would just not for a minute. That's the problem with being too knowledgeable and too good at what you do. Yeah, so sorry, this is just an A3 cutting mat, self-healing cutting mat from The Works. I think it cost me about £12. Big. I've had this for about 3 years now. It's an absolute workhorse. You need to wait for them to ask. I save myself a bunch of other people's responsibility. That's the way to wait for them to ask. I can't to give it to work. Clean it up some water. Yeah, no, absolutely. I tell you another one I do clean this up with, methylated spirits. And then that's it, it just wipes over. Obviously things like you can see here, you've got some dried on super glue, you know. I probably could have taken a bit of a better care over this, but in my opinion, it's here to serve a purpose. And that's exactly what it does. You know, it's a tool to be used in that regard. I am just going to go back to this little frog dude because I want to highlight his belly. So what I'm going to do, this is what we're kind of left with. I'm just going to use some Rakarth flesh, as it's kind of like that nice, it's not quite white, but it's strong enough to kind of show. I use it for, the other reason why I want to use this is that I use it for the bellies of my Troggoths. So it's like that complementing colour. So when they're near this type of stuff, it doesn't look too odd. You know, you can see that there's, you know, it's from the same army. I think sometimes clever little things like that is what just helps tie this together. The reason why I don't do a lot of stuff like this is because when it comes to kit bash, and I've said this before, I feel sometimes, holding my brush, no, I hold my brush like this because I'm a fucking moron. This is how I write. I'm so cack-handed with everything. It's just like claw type. I should hold it like this. I don't. I hold it like this. I've always done that. I don't know why. That's just how. You ask me to write something down and then read it back to you. I can't read my own writing. Which I do find quite hilarious because you know, I like to think when I have to, I can pull it out the bag with paint in. I forgot what I was talking about. Yes, kit bashes and stuff and little stuff like this. It looks exactly what it is. It looks like something that's just been glued together, and I don't like that. I like the idea of it looking quite natural and having like bespoke objective markers. So, you know, using bits from the Troggoth kit and stuff like that, I think is gonna, just those little colors is gonna help just kind of make this a lot more believable, where you go, that objective marker quite clearly goes with that army. I like that. I think that's a good way of kind of just having something, you know, unique, because that's, you know, that's what it's here for, really. I like a nice unique looking army. Now, do I give this guy some ominous, I might give him a little orange tickle. Let's go with, where is my, there it is. Another fantastic underrated contrast paint. Cack-handed. Yeah, sorry, it's always been like that. Normally you'd have your fork in your left hand, your knife in your right. I'm the other way around. I have to have my fork in my right. Gryph-hound orange contrast is such a good colour. So what we're going to do, you probably won't see this, but I think with this little froggy guy, let's give him some squiggles, shall we? Let's give him some little... Just so he kind of looks like he's cute, but you don't want to pick him up. So we'll just give him some little stripes. Make him ribbed for your pleasure, if you will. let's just give these, as I say, you're not really going to see this side of things, but just on the off chance, I always think it's little details like this that just bring little stuff like this to life. Obviously, this Objective Marvel will go with my rock guts, and obviously they do have the power to kind of do, you know, make sculpt rocks, stuff like that. It's just that they're a bit too stupid to work out how good they are at it, which, you know, is quite hilarious. So we're just gonna, there we go, we're gonna give him some cheeky little stripes, just so if you saw him you'd go, that's a lovely green frog, but then you'd go, don't pick him up though. That's my kind of, should we give him a little squiggle? Let's give him a squiggle down the middle as well. Let's get this, and we're just gonna, just down the middle like this. Oh yeah, look at him, look at him, he's definitely poisonous now. Go into his little frog butthole. I don't know whether I can say that actually, well it's too late now, but little frog butthole. There we go. I'm pretty chuffed with that. Yeah, basically that's what it is, isn't it? The fuck around and find out frog. 100%, there he is. Should we give him, let's give him a little, couple of little markings on here as well. Go, just so when you sit there and you go, oh no, oh don't pick him, wash your hands afterwards, that type of thing. Eyes, what colour eyes do frogs have? Fuck. Well, this is why we have Google. Let's just type in frogs, and let's just quickly find, oh they're weird, aren't they? Okay, so look, he kind of has, they have like little black slitty eyes. That one looks happy. I like him. Ooh, red one. Ah, yeah, there we go. Right, okay. That's what we got. We're there. It's been decided. Let's give him, now I've got this here. This is Doomfire Magenta. I think that could give us a really, really lovely kind of, this is a fantastic colour. Again, I really like the new wave contrast stuff. We're just gonna, and then hope we can all feel me breathing in there as I paint in those eyes, little tiny frog's eyes. He just needs, there we go. Oh, he's got his little tongue poking out as well. You know, see, this is why I know we moan about it sometimes. I didn't realise he's got his tongue poking out there. I know we moan about Games Workshop and stuff like that, but I do think sometimes, I think it's easy to forget the detail that they do put into a lot of their miniatures that you don't realise. And it's present on all of them, even if you don't particularly like that miniature. Like I'd never really looked at this. I just knew that I had a sprue of Pterodon riders next to me. And I was like, oh, I wonder what's on here. Because I know sometimes they're on little rocks and things. And I thought, hang on a minute, there's a little frog there. I think he's a little token that you put down. No, but I'm not worried if I'm breathing. I haven't done that since 1987. Is like obviously you, and then you paint in like you really fine details, don't you? At least, well, you know, I do anyway. So, yeah, there you go. One frog that you shouldn't touch. I think he looks quite good. There we go. He's only going to be, you know, he's going to be tucked away under here. You're not really going to see him, but that's not the point. I know he's there, and I know now he looks fantastic. So there he is, one little tiny frog man. Now, this is looking good. Let's just get that excess off of the base, because I don't want any excess on there. Now, I don't need to worry about putting flock or anything like that. Yeah, happy to be Angry Frog. 100%. He likes his life of solitude in his little tiny hole. Should we glue him in now? Is that going to cause problems? Maybe. So why don't we do the battlefield grass first? Because that'll glue on last, and then I'll finish it. I think is going to be the easiest way, because it'll be like his little frog cave that he's going to sit in. He's just going to sit in there, and that way this is kind of like centered. I wanted to kind of treat this bit as like the model piece, just so it's centered. So he's going to be about there, which I think works quite nicely. We can tuck some tufts and stuff around it to make it look like, you know, it hides that seam. But I think ultimately that's what we're going to do. I do need to paint some of this, and I am going to use, where is that? Steel Legion Drab. I think it's a really, really good colour. But also, again, tying those colours together, this is the colour that I've done any dirt and stuff on my trolls. So again, it should help just kind of tie that. We're only going to do this bit here, because you're not going to see a lot of it. And again, I'm just going to really roughly block that in. I'm not going to worry too much about being really like accurate and neat like this. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to get some water on my brush, and I'm just going to feather it out. That way I ain't got to worry about like any sharp edges or things like that. And then we can kind of stick some dirt, like this dirt in the little dinks and stuff on this side. I did come in with a bit of a pin drill. You know, like when termites and rock goes really like brittle over time? Well, I thought what I would do is I would come in and I would do loads of little pinhole drills. And that's what I've kind of done to make it look like it's starting to like calcify. I'm not sure how well it worked. I probably needed to do more. I can come in and do more of them, I suppose. But I did just want to kind of point that out, just for anyone wondering what those little holes were on this figure. So there we go. I think that will probably do. I'll see where dirt would collect rainwater. Let's now get the stuff. That's right, the stuff. I love this stuff. I think this Army Painter Battlefield Grass is such a good colour, and I really, really use it at every opportunity. I think it's great. And then I've got this good old Luke's APS. Now that was Geek Gaming before it was Geek Gaming. It was Luke's APS, which was Luke's affordable paint service back when he actually made terrain. It was, you know, that's where I learned a lot of my terrain making skills and kind of did a lot of stuff from, which was great. It was a great channel. And then it kind of went, there was that guy with the long hair, I think towards the end. I kind of stopped watching it after that. Oh, Daphne. Oh, thank you. I hope you and Raph are well, and baby. Yeah, no, thank you for popping in. Oh, that's so sweet. Daphne from Chipmunk Studios is lovely people. Got them this gorgeous little baby boy. And they're just absolutely amazing painters and really, really lovely people. If you don't, go and check them out. Thanks, Daff, or Raph. I don't know which one it is writing, but I do hope you're well. Let's just... I'm just going to add... Again, I try not to think about this stage too much, because we just want little splodges of grass here and there. But I do want to focus some around the back here, because I want our little frogman almost like sitting with it guarding him. So I'm not going to put any in there, but I am going to put some around the front, which I think will help. The nice stuff about this, and I don't know whether it's the same mixture, but this stuff sets so quickly. Like, stupidly. Oh, it's Daphne. Thank you, Daphne. I do hope you are well. Well, I'll drop you a message soon. I see that you're busy all the time now. Is it you're doing like a... Is it like a gaming group? Which obviously, you know, I know what it's like. You know, I speak to Josh all the time, and he's always busy, bless him. So I you know, I won't say I do know what it's like. I do the bare minimum, but you know, I do hope you're well. Thank you very much for popping in. Means a lot. It's lovely to see. Ah, thanks, Steph. So we're just going to leave that for just a couple of minutes. I'm not having a tea today. Normally I'd have a tea. I've got lemon water at the moment. I'm not one of them, but I got gout. I thought it was arthritis. Apparently I've been like diagnosed with, you know, a bit of gout. Now that might seem a bit weird, considering I'm quite an active person. I sat in the doctor's and I kept getting a pain in my big toe and my right knee. And when I was growing up, they told me that I had something. I think it was called like osteoarthritis or something. It's when I was like 12, 13 and had my growth spurt, my bones grew quicker than my muscles. And I always remember doctors telling me when I was like, I think I was 14 at the time, that we actually finally managed to kind of like get to see someone. And he was like, in later life, you're going to get problems with your joints, you know, on both knees or one, you know, they couldn't say, but he was like, I guarantee you'll get problems. And I was like, okay, cool, you know, whatever. So skip forward. Now I run, I do running. I do running. And that sounds very childish, doesn't it? I run, I do 10Ks, you know, I do charity work. The other weekend I was up Snowdonia doing the hardest path and then the second hardest down. I sat in the GP's office, and he, you know, the guy was like, what's the problem? And I was like, well, I think I've got arthritis. I was like, because I keep getting like pains and stuff like that. And he was like, I just had a little pair of Converse on and a pair of shorts. He didn't ask me to take my trousers off or anything. And he was like, you got gout. And he like didn't even look at my leg. And I was kind of like, yeah, but like I keep getting it in my knee and, you know, my big toe, and I've been putting this Tiger Balm on and stuff like that. He was like, you got gout. And I was like, yeah, but sometimes, like, you know, my knee is okay. Then sometimes it feels like it's bruised, and sometimes it's like feels slightly swollen. My buddy they call me Fat Knee now. I've no idea why I've got, but I kind of feel like I want to show chat my knees, but I'm not going to. They're the normal size knees. And he was like, you got gout. And I was like, okay. And do you know when you sit there and you think, you haven't really even looked at me? You've just seen that I've got a bit of a red toe and that I've complained about my knee hurting. And you've gone, it's gout. My mum suffers with really bad arthritis and rheumatism. She has done for years. My nan did. I don't know if it's hereditary or what, you know, I don't know. And he was like, drink more water. And I drink a lot of water. We have water machines where I work. It's lovely. Ice cold, comes out ice cold. It's lovely. That's it. It's either that or tea. I like a cup of tea, but I can't drink that many. I think 12's my limit for a tea in a day. So I normally drink water. And then he was like, well, you need to exercise more. And I was like, well, I run. I said, I do look like 10K runs for charity. I said, the other week I was up Snowdonia. And he kind of looked at me like I was lying. And I'm like, I've just stopped talking. I was like, okay. And I kind of didn't know what to say. But yeah, so he was like, yeah, it's gout. He gave me these anti-inflammation tablets. Remind me, if anyone's here and like when the stream ends, tell me to take my tablet, because I will forget. I've been awful with it. I don't know whether it feels any better, but obviously gout can lead to early onset arthritis and stuff like that. So that's where I am with it. It's not too painful, if I'm honest. It comes and goes, but it is frustrating, if I'm honest with you, because I do try and look after myself. I mean, this year I will be 39. You know, I gym. I'm quite active. I guess you could say I like a drink. I always have done though. I'm a bit of a binger. I won't go out for a couple of weeks, and then I'll just like go on an absolute rampage. I'm quite bad like that. I'm well aware. Obviously, when I drink, I do like a cigarette as well. Naughty, but still, you know, I don't begrudge it because I don't do it all the time. But I enjoy it. I do enjoy it. I'm not going to lie and say, oh, I should give up. Well, you know what? I don't believe that I do it enough to really But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So it's really frustrating actually to know it's developed. But then obviously, like, reminded of my medical history when I was chatting to my mum the other day. She was like, no, don't forget, that doctor did say that all them years ago. And I was like, oh yeah, Mum, you're right. Now he does fit in here. I know he does. So let's just pop him in. So he's going to be tucked right there like that. So our little frog guy's in. Look, there he is. Again, I don't think you're going to see his little thing. Take a mental image of this or screenshot it. Yeah, they do say that, but once again, see, I don't drink all the time. I'm a bit like neither here nor there with it. I'm quite like erratic with drink. I won't go out, all month. Then I'll have a bit of a binge. But then, I don't know. Like I wouldn't say I'm moderate, but I definitely know that I like a drink, and I always have. And yeah, I do know. The drink can be a contributing factor. Right, so let's just see if we can get this, because I want this to be in the middle. So he goes like there. That looks kind of middle-ish, doesn't it? Let's go with that. And you kind of can see his little markings, which is kind of cool. So there we go. He's got his little hole. Hey, I'm quite chuffed with that. I think that looks quite cool. Right, so now that bit's done, let's just let that glue set for just a sec. This is where I get really, really like weird, and you're going to see how weird I am. Where's my little special pot of rocks? Oh no, what have I done? Where's that gone? Where would I have put a pot of rocks? Where would pass me? Would leave them on the floor. Not today. You're not getting past me today. Again, this is Luke's APS. This is Base Ready Mix. I think this was Arid Badlands. It's got a really, really cool mix of just flock and that. But I wasn't sure about picking up some grass, but that looks great. Honestly, I will not sing this praises enough. Army Paint, a Battlefield Grass. It's made up of not only green, it's got some yellow and it's got some slightly darker fibres in there. So like just kind of around on a really dark base, it just looks really good. And then by the time we kind of add some extra tufts to it and stuff like that, it's just going to look great. But what I like to do here, I get my special little tweezers. So you got to like that, special little tweezers. And then I'm going to pick out some of my favourite little stones. I like this one. I think that's quite good. We'll have that. And then we're going to... Oh, hiding. Cheeky. And then we're going to have this one as well. Look at that. Hey. I think that'll be enough. Should we go with 3? We'll see how it looks. And then all I'm going to do... Special. We've got a special pot. I've also got a tub here that I went down. My my parents live down by the beach. So whenever I go there, I go right to the front. Obviously, Great British beaches are a bit stony and a bit crap, but they are good because you get all the cool little, like, they almost like sieve themselves through size, which is really, really good because you can literally just rock up and be like, oh, I need some really small ones. And you know they're going to be right at the front. So you just go right down to the front. So I'm just we're going to put you there. Normally I would put the rocks on last, but I want them to blend in. The one thing I've learned since I've been making these is I do think I should be putting these on now so I can push the tufts around them as opposed to having the rocks stand out a bit more. And it's just gonna, one, I know it sounds silly, it adds a little tiny bit of weight. That's why I like using natural materials like rocks and stuff like that. But also I think they just look better, especially if you can find one that really suits. And I find that these ones here are perfect to go with like the grey colour. So I've actually started putting these on before I do my tufts, but we're not going to do the tufts just yet. Where did I put the lid? Let's where that one. So let's go. Is it this one I was using? I think it was this one. Yeah. Right. Let's go Administratum Grey. And this is going to hopefully pick up all of the sharp edges on this guy. This is what we want. Hopefully this is like the final dry brush stage of this. It should. There we go, that's what we want. Now that that's stuck on, we're just going to to sharpen that kind of, yeah, look at that. That's doing it for me. That's doing it. Dedication to the string. There we go. Just keeping it on the top, and that should help blend in those washes that we put on earlier, ultimately the brown and the make the eyes glow red with blood. No, I can't do that. These are nice trolls living their life. They just want to worship this little rock guy. They don't want blood, although like maybe some nice what about glowing blue eyes? Could be kind of cool. My Trogos have blue eyes. We could do blue. To be fair, the little frog's got blood red eyes. He's not happy. That's definitely, if that frog worships everything, it's corn, hands down. That is a corn worshipping frog. So let's just finish off this highlight, and then we'll have a look at where we are. And if it needs a little something extra, maybe it could be a little like artifact of some thingy-majig. I don't know. I've got to stop doing that. You can't see what I do. I get my brush and I wipe it on the side of my shorts, and it's really, really lazy. So I just, I should, I need to stop doing that. Yeah, I think maybe we could just do some little glowing eyes. I think that'd be quite nice. I'm just going to clean this. I've made a conscious effort to make these Artify brushes last me. I've never had nice brushes. I've always used, again, the Games Workshop ones, and I think they're great. You know, so I'm trying to make these kind of last. They sent me such a lovely set to play around with, and I've had them a couple of months now, and they're just kind of like putting in the work, which I really, really like. I do like the Army Painter dry brushes as well. They're short and stubby, and I kind of like them. I kind of like them a lot. But I'm trying to make them right. Glowing eyes. Fucking hell, you lot! Right, let's get it's this I use for the eyes, which is a contrast achromatic blue. But where did I put? Oh, it's there. Let's get some good old Corax white, because it's the best white there is. So I do use makeup brushes as well, and my favourite one is actually it's a big one. It's from Primark in the UK. It costs a couple of quid, but it's really, really good because it's got lovely wide bristles. The only thing I do find, obviously, if you don't look after them or maintain them, they don't last very long, which is a bit of a shame. But that one really put in the work for me, so I kind of bought quite a few of them. If you see my video on dry brushing, like anything can be a dry brush, but I've never been bothered about having nice brushes. Since Artify have sent me these brushes, I kind of do feel like maybe they do make life a bit easier. Now, I am no way insinuating that the brush maketh the man, but it definitely helps. Let's just run that in. Just like that. Go. Now this side's a bit kind of like cracked. Right, okay, that's fine. No, and do you know about something that I was just about to say? Daphne's said exactly what I was. Sorry, I was concentrating. I've used absolutely loads of them. Like, I've got a ton of makeup brushes here. They are good, but until you get a good dry brush, I do find you don't notice it. Like the Army Painter sent me these, and they're kind of. I think I do prefer the shorter, softer bristle when I do the longer makeup ones. For terrain, all day long. And if you're going to butcher something, get makeup brushes. But nicer ones like these, the Artify ones, you do notice a difference. I don't want to say that I can't, because I do, and I don't want to be disingenuous. But I didn't think, I kind of, you know, when they said about the dry brushes, I was like, yeah, go on, that'll go in the pile. But ever since I've started using them, I've actually been really impressed with them. So we're just gonna, just like that is how we're doing it. That's all you're getting out of me. I weren't going to do glowing eyes. Do glowing eyes. Maybe you do glowing eyes. Whatever. Grow up. Let's take it from there. Dude, I'm doing them. God, slave drivers, you lot, I'm telling you. Thought I'd do a nice relaxing chat, you know, nice relaxing live. Do some, make some little objects for my little trolls. You know, they want some little stuff for themselves. Being bullied by chat. Okay, glowing eyes. There you go. And what I will do is I'll wait for that to dry, then I'll just dot a little bit of white in there. Job done. So what are you getting out of me? Absolute bullies, a lot of you. The small one and Dramatic Chipmunk Studios, should be ashamed of yourself. What you've made me do today. I wasn't going to do glowing eyes. Right. The last thing we can do is, let's open up this drawer, because in this drawer is the good drawer. It's got all my cool stuff in. Look at this. There should be some more somewhere. Hey, hiding at the back, you cheeky little bread basket. All right, let's stick some tufts on. Now, what I do like to do with tufts, the special drawer, is where I keep my special things. That sounds really weird when you say it like that. It's where I keep my good stuff. I cut my tufts in half when I need to. And then that way we can make them fit. So that's what we're going to be doing. And I do like to secure them down with a bit of extra super glue. I know they are sticky and they have an adhesive, but I do find that just having a bit more, and what we're going to do, we're going to stick these here round by our little frog. So it looks like he's kind of nestled in and he's got a bit of shelter. It's just going to add a bit of height variation. I'm not going to do both of them. I'll stick the other one around the other side, I think. I like wedging these up against stuff because you can really just stuff them in there. So like, let's put this one just there. And then what I'm going to do with my hobby knife, I'm going to really push them in just here. And you can actually kind of like manipulate it to stand up a bit more by stuffing it in there. So I'm actually trying to stab it at the, you know, the actual cork that I've put in there, and that's how I do it. All right, I finished my set with Small Car. What's bed now? It's midnight on the other side. Oh, Tan, where were you watching from? But also thanks for popping in. I really, really appreciate it. You know, let me know where you're from. I always like to know. It's always amazing. Midnight there. It's 20 to 9 here. But again, thanks for popping in and letting us know. Start that Flesh Eater Corpse army. Do it. Do it. You won't regret it. Your wallet will, but you won't. Same again with this. Like, we'll stick this one just here, I think, next to it. Just around there. Like that. We're going to pop another one of these on. I really like these dark coloured ones. I think they're great at breaking up all of the light kind of colours. We'll put one round here by our little frog mate, I think. It can be his other one. I might actually... I've got room just here, so I might grab one here and I'll just push it in. Hey, look at that. Oh, Vietnam. Amazing. Take care. See you soon. Obviously, pop in for the next one. Definitely. And then we've got these cool kind of like ash grey ones as well, which I really like. I think we're going to stick one of these just in here. So let's pop that in. And it's what it will do is it will hide this slight gap that we've got here. What I should have done is I should have filed this completely flat, the bottom of this guy, but because I would have then had to build up even more cork, and I don't really like working with cork. I think it looks like cork painted. You know, it can be hard to do right. I'm not saying I do it right, but I do it a way that I'm quite happy with how it looks. So it can be a bit frustrating working with cork sometimes. But I think that's going to kind of just cover it. Now, I'm quite chuffed with that, but I do feel that we need maybe a bit more variety. I might get one of these. These are the little flowery ones. Again, I really like these. Let's jab one of these in here somewhere, shall we? It's a shame Games Workshop don't do, I believe it was called Lustrous Undergrowth. It was a texture paint, and it was basically, when it dried, it looked like moss. I never got to use it. It was going out just as I entered the hobby. And I always remember asking the guy who ran the Games Workshop locally to me, was like, oh, you know, can you get me one? Can you get me one? And he never managed to, which was a bit of a shame, as I would have really liked to have played around with that. The only other thing we can do is we could get some flock and maybe do some PVA. What's the time? 8:43. Yeah, do you know what? Let's. Hey, it's a school night, but you know what I mean. At 38, do what I want. No one tells me what to do. Let's get. I'm going to show you how to do something now that I haven't done a video on yet. If I get, oh poo, oh there it is there. Where's the big tin? Ah, yeah. Right, in here, flock. Look at this. More importantly, it's this one here we want. what we want to do is, do we have a green? Do I have a green? Spring. No. That's just... Oh, go on in. All right, we'll have some of that. All right, and what we're going to do, I need a pot. So, I did have... We're going to use the top of that. Now, the way we are going to do this is we're going to go to our base ready glue. Again, I need a brush. I need quite a bit of this. Like this. And what we're going to do, we're going to make our own moss type stuff. That should be good enough. This dries matte and clear, but don't worry, we can varnish this anyway. I do like to add a touch of water just to make everything kind of move around. So we're just going to start mixing this together. And then what I'm going to do, we're going to get our fine turf. And we're going to just pop it in there like that. And then we're going to get some of this. This is burnt grass. Burnt grass, when you're using flock, is the Agrax Earthshade of flock. That's what you use to be good at flocking. You can put down any colour, then put down like a burnt grass over the top of it. And I kid you not, you've done it. That's all you need to do. We're just going to mix a bit more of this in like that. I think that looks good. That looks good to me. And then what we're going to do, a bit more water, and we're just going to mix this in to the PVA. It's messy. It is really messy. There's not a lot I can do about that. So just make sure that you are, you're prepared. It's almost like baking a cake. We're going to work it all into each other, and we're going to kind of make this gloopy paste. What we need to do is make sure that every bit of flock is wet and it has glue on. Don't be afraid to add more water. Yeah, it's going to be messy, but it's going to do what we want it to do. Obviously, it looks a little bit pale now. Don't worry, when that dries, you won't notice that. And I think probably the best way of applying this, if you've got an old brush with stiff bristles or a texture tool. Bye, Daphne. Thanks again for popping in, and the small one, thanks for coming in, and you get a subscription because you bullied me into doing glowing eyes. No, thanks for that. No, thank you for the support. I'll see you all in the next one. There'll be more, don't worry. Because what we need to do, we need to apply this to make it look like it's creeping up here. So we're just gonna kind of start here. Like I said, it is messy. Just make sure that you're working it in. I don't think that's going to work for me. I think I need the... Where's my texture tool? Hang on. Da, 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 da. I don't know what I've done with it. Hey, but that's a lovely knackered brush, and that's really, really kind of good. So what we're going to do, we're just going to sit in there like that. And because it's super glue, we can kind of like really... almost like play around with it. It's almost like kinetic sand at the moment. But what you need to do is make sure you really push it against what you want it to do, because we need this to stick. So let's just get it in there. Like this, all along here. I think I'm going to have some of this creeping up him. I do apologise if I was slightly off camera there. It's only because I'm trying to look at what I'm doing. There we go. Just keep pushing it in. I kind of wish I would have added, although it's messy to kind of work with, I kind of wish I'd added some of this to my, I might go back and add some to my Troggoth bases. I'm liking how this looks. I think this is going to look really, really cool. Just like this. again, we can just push that in, use our finger there. It doesn't matter if it looks like it's kind of like fading out at the top. That's kind of what we want, because we want it to look like it's kind of creeping up him, as you can see. I think I'll stick a bit more around here. In actual fact, we'll use it all. Like I said, it looks like you're not going to get that much, but we'll just use it to kind of fill that gap there, which it will do. And then we'll just kind of work that into there. I'll leave some of that kind of like corner bit showing, so you know you can see that it's growth and not just like mushy stuff. And then we'll just get the last few bits. Maybe just we'll just stick it in there for our little frog mate. We'll just get these last bits. I don't want to waste it. Like that. Just stick it in there. Obviously, like if you're after a particular color or something like that, this is a great way to add like variation and stuff. So definitely, like, you know, consider playing around with stuff like this. Again, really easy to do, and it's going to give a very cool effect, I think. We'll just put some in there. We'll put that bit there. And I think, aside from the base, that's where we are. Ta-da! Very cool. Little objective marker. Looks great. Thank you, Daphne, for popping in. Really does mean a lot. Give my love to Raf and Little One. And we'll have a catch up soon. But thanks again. Really means a lot. Off to do some errands. BS, see you soon, mate. Honestly, thanks again for popping in. There'll probably be another one this week. I might have a big one coming up. Not oh shit, that sounds bad. I might have a live coming up with someone, which should be good. That's all I'm going to say for the minute. So I just need to work out some logistical times with them. And yeah, there should be a big one coming up, which could be good. Lots to talk about, and not the usual stuff. So yeah, we'll see. So all that's left now is the rim. It's sometimes it just writes itself. The rim needs a crisp coat of paint. Don't know why I do this to myself. Let's just, obviously my hands are a little bit sticky from PVA, so I'm trying not to I just like to kind of try and remove any excess bits of flock or anything like that. We'll kind of finish it off. I'm really pleased with how that stuff turned out. Again, I haven't done a video on that yet. I might do a video on that maybe for the next one. I'll probably make some more of these. And you are so talented. I wouldn't go that far, just knowledgeable. But thank you very much for the kind words. All that's left to do, I like XV88. It looks a bit orange in the tub, but I do think it gives a good look. What I am going to do here is I'm just going to do my best to push this into this. Obviously, I don't want to keep touching it because I don't want to keep losing my flock that I've done there. Just like that. And all we're going to do is paint the rim. That's awful, honestly. And then we'll call it job's a good one. I will give this a varnish. However, I will let it dry overnight untouched before I do that, just to kind of protect any flock, or, you know, just to mat down anything that might have, you know, look a bit shiny from the adhesive and stuff like that. But I do just find, obviously, water your paints down when you do your rims, just purely because it gives a better finish, a smoother finish. I think it looks better rather than just slapping it on because, you know, you want to get it done. It's only an objective marker, but it still doesn't mean it deserves any less care than the rest of the army. So I'm just gonna I'll probably do a couple of coats of these. I am using my wet palette for this first coat just to kind of get that consistency looking smooth. And I'll probably do 2 or 3. I tend to do the next couple of coats really watery. It just gives a smoother finish personally. So that's what we're gonna do. For the purpose of this, I've used I think this is a 50mm base. I believe it's the same size Rock Guts and Fell Waters come on. Oh, Jesus Christ, it's one of them nights, isn't it? It's not Eileen. They I thought it would just kind of like, you know, it would match. Again, it's all about that, you know, with what I've done before, it will help tie this together with, you know, my army and stuff like that. So this is why I've chosen to kind of use a similar size base. I don't know again about objective markers and stuff like that. I don't really play Warhammer. I just start painting the models. I think they're quite cool. Even though ironically my disdain for the fantasy genre is well known between my friends. There we go. We'll just kind of leave that there. I'll let that first coat dry, and then I might just give it a quick sand or file. But if we kind of just, you know, pop that next to this guy, it doesn't look out of place. You know, it works, it goes with it. I think that is a cool objective marker, or just something to sit on the shelf with it. Again, I do have the big centipede thing up here. I'll probably do something similar with this one. In actual fact, Josh, neither are very good. I'll probably do something with this guy. I think it's quite cool. I like that end, like, you know, a big like rotten centipede. I think would look good, you know, coming out of or making it look like he's going into his hole. Ah, geez, man, it's just so easy tonight. You know, I think that would look great. Now, I did have, and I wanted to show people this because I don't know where this is from. I don't know. Oh my God, what have I done with it? Oh my God, it's this one. Whew. Miniature heart attack. Right. I found these in my little drawer. I'm not quite sure where all this is from, but look. There's like little pots. There's surveying equipment. I think this is dwarf symbolism. There's a little dwarven wheelbarrow. I'm sure that's dwarven. It's got a little face in there. Well, that's quite good. Little dwarvy pickaxe. Again, I think so. Little dwarvy shovels. I don't know what that is. Looks like bullets. And there's some heads. I'm not sure whether they look like man heads, but they're the same. If anybody knows where these are from, let me know, because I came across these. I don't know where I picked these up from. See, I was thinking of doing the centipede one, and maybe doing like a small excavation site scene with these bits, but I don't know where they're from. I think that could be kind of cool. I was going to pop the pickaxe in the little dwarf's head, but I thought that were unfair because he's just dead, isn't he? So, you know, I thought, let's not make things worse. So if anyone knows where they're from, let me know. That would be very good. From Fantasy Dwarf, no idea, mate. I have no idea. Like I said, in the bag it just says Citadel 25mm round bases. So it's obviously like they've been put in this bag by, you know, but that's all I've got to go on with these. So yeah, I just thought they were quite cool looking. I'm just going, there's a big bit of flock there that I need to get off. I just need to get rid of some of these bits, because around here it's looking a bit rough. To do this, what I do is I just rub my finger back and forth, and you'll actually lift off any odd bits of flock. I do try and push everything up as well, just so when I go around with the paintbrush it doesn't catch. Sometimes it's a bit harder because just here, like there, that just needs to come off, and there's one that I seem to have painted over there. Again, I'll just push everything up. What am I using to hold the Mini? So this is the red grass. This is the hobby handle. It's just like this sticky orange tack stuff. I like this one because you can spin it. So when I'm doing bases and rims, I can just paint it and spin it, which I think is, you know, quite easy to do, quite nice. But that's it. I like normally what I do, like when I paint stuff, I glue them to like little 25 mils, and I hang them off, and I use the old chunky Games Workshop one, which is somewhere there, which is this one. So I just kind of have like a 32 mil or 25 mil base, and then what I'll do is, like when I'm painting a model, like say for instance this guy here, I'll glue him like that purposely, so I can actually still get underneath him through the side. It just makes painting a lot easier. Sometimes everyone bases the model straight away. Super glue goes really brittle, so what you can actually do is you can just kind of like bend the base a little bit, and it will crack the seal on the super glue, and you can just pluck it off. That's it. It's really easy. But I do just find with stuff like this, the red grass one's really, really good because it spins. So it's easy for when I'm just, you know, if I'm painting the rims, I can just like that, and I'm actually spinning the thing and not my brush, as you can see, like that. And it just makes painting the rims really, really easy. So there we go. It's the model building that recently got me into it. I love, do you know what? I really, really like the model building. I think whenever I speak to people, they kind of get a bit, like they like painting, they like playing, but they hate building the models. I love building the models. There's something really therapeutic about just sitting down with a kit and just looking at your options, looking at what you've got. You know, sometimes I will unclip certain other bits and see how it looks, and like I just think there's something really lovely about that. I always find that out of the three things, like build, paint, play, it's always two things people really like, and it tends to be painting and playing. Myself, I like building and painting. That's just my jam and what I do. MCP Blackheart, how are you, sir? I do hope you are well today. Yeah, how are you doing? How's the old theme tunes coming along? Yeah, so there we go. That's how I kind of do it. I love the building. I love the building. I love the painting. Playing, not so much. So the base is a little bit scrappy. Obviously I've got some PVA over the sides of it, as you can see here, that I've had to strip back. We'll let the paint dry on it. What I'm going to do now, I will call the stream there because it has been 94 bloody minutes. I do want to say thank you to everyone that popped in. I will pop up some pictures of this when it's completely dry, so I'll probably do it tomorrow now, and just show you how it all turned out, and just, you know, kind of like the stuff, what we did in the, you know what I'm trying to say. When it's done, I'll show you. But you obviously you'll be able to see the methods and how they've turned out. Things like the, you know, the PVA with the flock mixed into it and stuff like that. You know, our little froggy man. I'll try and take some decent pictures, and we'll take it there. Do you know what? I'm really chuffed how it turned out. I'm not even too fussed. Oh, I will just dot the eyes very quickly. Bear with us, because I will forget. There's one. and there's 2. There we go. Just so the eyes stand out a little bit more. Cool, I like it. We're done. That is it. We're there. That is it. Objective markers. Use your bits. You crossing the T's. Oh, yeah. Use your bits. This was a great example of just having stuff left over and going, I want to make something. And I did. So that's that's how we do it. I think, you know, just looking at what you get left over in kits, Games Workshop, obviously most kits build a few different options and stuff like that. Look at what you've got, you know, turn it into something, and just have fun with it. I think this is, you know, I think I'm going to try and make an objective marker per squad of stuff. Obviously, I'll do the Fellwater Trogoths next, because I will probably pick some up next. I did find another base as well, so I've got another one to do. Obviously, you can see that I've had something glued on this already, so it's a bit knackered, so it's perfect for just, you know, making another one of these types of things. And I think that's what we will do in the next one. So there we go. Or I might just do a little YouTube video and kind of abridge everything without the stories of Ice Cream Men, Turf Wars, Gout, and innuendos. So yeah, that is it. I'll put some pictures up when it's done. Thanks to everyone that did pop along tonight. Always lovely. I always like to say this. Thank you so much for sharing your evening with me. It's been a pleasure that you've chosen to spend some of your time with myself. It does mean a hell of a lot. Thanks again. There's been a lot of support, actually, I feel like, on the channel lately, especially with the lives. It's really humbling. So thank you all so much for just taking the time out of the day and just being here, chatting away. It just makes everything a bit more enjoyable, and it's always nice to have people to chat to. You guys are the best. So that is it from me in this one. Again, I'll put pictures up probably tomorrow. I'll let this dry overnight, and we'll have a good look at it tomorrow. And yeah, we'll take it from there. In the meantime, I think me and Josh, are we Thursday, Josh, for a hobby hangout, a little painting hobby hangout, are we? And other than that, just while I wait for Josh to confirm. Josh? 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 There we go. Thursday. Can do, mate. That's the thumbs up. So Thursday we'll be there. I'll see you all next time. I'll put times up on Thursday. God bless and take care.